So now we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to drill into some of the specific areas, and I'm going to introduce Mary Shaw, who's head of our standards organization.
Okay. As Mike said, we're focused on standards. Standards basically are it's the foundation for all of the services that IDEA has. From IDW, we design what the fields are, what they need to be, what the structure is, and how they need to look, what makes it good quality data. To the IDX, the platform for getting the information to and from your trading partners, we build the standards for how that data needs to look. We started out doing EDI with our EDI Pro from years gone by. We now have flat files as well as XML, multiple options, European standards, the EDIFACT, so we can cover all of that in IDX, and again, all based on standards. But in order to do that, we can't just pull them out of the air. We have to actually have input from the industry. So the standards committee that we govern, members of manufacturers, distributors, third-party solution providers, software ERP companies, they bring to the table what the requirements are, what you need to be able to do business, and help us define the standards and how they need to look to be able to use them. And that's my tagline for many years has been, everything that we do for standards is built by the industry for the industry. The Standards Committee this year, our focus, we have lots going on, but some of the key initiatives that we're working on, point of sale. We developed a point of sale back in 2003, released it to the industry. Unfortunately, we only have a handful of people using it, but there's still a need for it, which popped up when NEMRA started looking at it and trying to define their standard. So we have partnered with them to align what they have and what we have to make sure that there's consistency and not a whole lot of one-offs going on out there. As well, back in 1993, before the Standards Committee was turned over to IDEA to govern, NEMA, NEMRA, and NAD got together and defined, back in the paper days, what packaging needed to be, what packing slips needed to look like, what all this information to communicate and buy and sell products needed to look like. So we have taken it upon ourselves to now take that with the authority given by those three entities to update those documents. We've recently had requests to bring them up to date. They are 1993, that's a long time ago. So we're going to be updating those. That's going to be a large effort because a lot of those documents are anywhere from 150 to 200 pages long. It's a big effort, but it needs to be done, especially with technology today. A lot has changed. Another key initiative that we're working on is identifying the critical attributes. Attributes are required in IDW. Distributors need it to be able to sell products. But in order to help manufacturers know what they need to provide, we are defining which pieces of data are really critical, and we'll be making those mandatory as we determine what they are. So there's a lot happening. From a standards department initiative, this is myself and some of our team members. We are working on renewing our relationship with refocusing on Canada, expanding outside of the U.S., making sure that what we have will meet the needs of the Canadian market. There's a lot of things that are the same, and as the Canadians in the room know, there's a lot that's different as well. Just right down to the certification program, things like Buy American and ARA, and they don't apply to Canada. So having Canadian manufacturers rated on those makes it kind of unfair. So we are developing an individual certification program specifically for them. Looking further east now, we have become, as of last November, I'm thinking, or maybe it was further back than that, we became an official member of ETIM International, representing North America, which is basically Canada and US. Mexico will come eventually. We are trying, we know that it's a standard that's out there that's being used by global companies that are doing business here as well. We want to be able to make sure that we align what we do with what they need. And so we are developing a North American translation for the ETIM model, which is a classification system similar to our attributes, and trying to make sure that what they have in their original model, their base model, incorporates what is needed for our market. One of the things that just got implemented, will go into effect on September 1st, is the inclusion of imperial measures. Everywhere else in the world is using metric, so their model was designed on metric. In order for us to be able to utilize it here, we have to have imperial, and it will be included in the model when it goes live on September 1st, and give people the ability to have metric or imperial or both, so whatever you need. And our presence there is also giving us an opportunity to interact with the European members of our customers to make sure that we're aware of what's happening, and anything new coming down the pipe, so that we can incorporate it into our standards development. So our roadmap for the next few years, we are rethinking our approach to standards. A lot of the standards documentation that we've created is really truly focused on IDW, because that is our core. But we also know that the standards that we develop can also be utilized for partner-to-partner exchange. And we have to keep that in mind going forward. We want everyone to be on IDW, but we also don't want us or our standards development to only be viewed as strictly an IDW tool. We want to expand beyond the IDW and IDX, try and figure out what else we need to have, what other standards are required out there. Point of sale is not something that goes through IDW. That isn't just one example. Other needs that the industry has to have solved for working with each other, we want to be able to expand and make sure that we cover all of the needed standards, from anything from just right down to the communicating back and forth and how you're going to do it, aside from the product and pricing information. And the intent is also to rethink what our approach is. We want the industry to understand that we are a standards body for the industry, made up by the industry, to solve the industry's problems. I've recently discovered through some conversations that a lot of folks just saw the Standards Committee, as I said earlier, as just the body to design the IDW. And we need to get away from that. We need to get the industry to be more comfortable with coming to us when they have trading partner problems that need to be solved, that not necessarily tie into our services. So that is our plan for going forward. We want to make sure that we really know, that the industry knows who we are as a standards body, why we're out there, and we're here to help as best we can.